I read that 70% of divorce is initiated by women.
That is true. 73%, actually.
I think that statistic would shock a lot of people.
It would, but it's also widely misinterpreted and also very unfairly weaponized.
Okay, say more.
I think there is a crisis in masculinity and a crisis happening for men right now, and particularly boys. I think that some men on the furthest extremes of the men's movement use that statistic unfairly to create the false impression that the majority of women who marry treat it like they went to the casino and they stocked up, and then once they were winning, they cashed their chips out. So they marry a guy, they have kids with him, they create a child support obligation, they watch him rise in success, and then they cash out and they get rid of the guy, but they get like the husband a la carte because the guy still has to pay for the kids, he still has to pay alimony, he still has to pay her bills. But she no longer has to be with him anymore, and she can go off with a different guy and be happy.
Women are shocked that men are retiring from dating and marriage, like it happened overnight. Men didn't vanish. They audited the deal, read the fine print, and opted out quietly. When the costs kept rising and the benefits kept shrinking, the decision made itself. Punchline? Retirement happens when the job stops paying.
I was driving from the gym last night, going home, and it was like Holy Spirit spoke to me and said, you won't live a fulfilled life if you only experience one emotion. Life's fulfillments come from all of your experiences. Mm-hmm. And I will use even the bad experiences to cause you to have a fulfilled life. Mm-hmm. I want to encourage y'all. And I want to encourage y'all that are watching, even in your bad experiences, you are living a fulfilled life. Absolutely. And God will use your bad experiences to allow you to live a fulfilled life, because you don't understand what it means to be truly happy if you've never been sad. Because I'm the man, I got the master plan.
They call it fear of commitment. Men call it pattern recognition. After watching friends lose peace, money, and leverage, men decided experience counts as research. Punchline? Learning from others isn't cowardice, it's intelligence.
Okay, let's break down the saying. Men sacrifice their happiness for marriage, women sacrifice their marriage for their happiness. Because sis said that doesn't make sense. So let me break it down, because this is something that men are saying. And so maybe if I say it, it will kind of resonate a little bit more. I'm not going to hold you. A lot of times women, we only think about us and what we give up and what we sacrifice. I mean, men do this too, but in marriage, a lot of times we don't always consider what the men give up. Now, this is going to sound crazy because our needs are different, but before y'all react, before y'all get triggered, before y'all just listen first and then comment. Just then comment. When men get married, it is not a fairy tale for them. They're not looking forward to this extravagant wedding. They are not rushing to be with one woman. Now, hear me out. A good man, a man that's God-fearing, does not mind giving up that part of himself to be with one woman. Most men, though, it is not their dream and their fantasy to be with one person the way it is for us. We don't need a slew of men. We don't need a roster. We don't need a bunch of people to make us feel good. Men are way more sexual than we are. We are content with one person. Men have to fight against their flesh, fight against their natural desires to be with multiple women. So that is a sacrifice they give up for the woman that they love. And I know somebody's going to be like, but they cheat. I'm not talking about them. I'm just saying in general. Just listen, y'all. Stay here, ladies, because I know how y'all get. Just wait a minute. Also, when a man gets married, he is sacrificing not only protecting himself, but he has to now protect a family. If a cop, burglar, whatever comes to the door, like if anybody knocks at the door, my husband answers the door because he is the protector of this household. He does not expect me to get up in the middle of the night or get up when the doorbell rings to make sure that the household is protected. That is his job. So a man knows when I sign up to be a husband, I am now her protection and my children's protection. Men also know that their resources are no longer for them, they are for their family. However, good men do not mind because that's what makes them feel good as men. However, it is a huge investment in the man. They're investing their time, their loyalty, they're going against their nature to be with one woman, love one woman, take care of a family because they love, when they're loved properly, when they know that woman has their back and that she's loyal, they don't mind making that sacrifice. They don't mind denying the things that they want, the good ones. They don't mind denying the things that they want to make sure that their family is straight. That's why back in the day, granddaddy, even men today though, men will sacrifice, get up every single day and never complain about having to go to work, never complain about sitting in traffic, never complaining about your nasty pot roast, never complaining. They will just live their lives. They shut up. They do what they got to do to put their family on their back, to hold it down in any way they can. The good ones, not saying men are perfect. I'm just saying that's what they sacrifice. Women, we make sacrifices, right? We bear the children, we hold down the home, but it's equal exchange. The difference is men don't really complain about their sacrifices. And then to the women who say that, well, I do everything, sis, that's the marriage you signed up for. No tea, no shade. No tea, no shade. Y'all gotta work that out. So when men say women will sacrifice their marriage for their happiness, when women say, you know what? I've been with this man for 12 years. We have kids together. We built this home together. We have a life together. But right now, this marriage is not serving me. And I need to go outside this marriage. I need to break up my home. I need to break up my family to go be happy. Men don't understand that crap because that man ain't been happy for a while, but he sucked it up and kept doing what he needed to do for his family. And then you'll have other women go, yeah, girl, your happiness is over your children's happiness. Your happiness is over the heartbreak that's going to cause to your husband. Your happiness is over everything. You see how crazy that sounds? It's very selfish. So no, you don't care that your children will have to go back and forth between different homes. No, you won't care about how that is going to hurt your husband because he might be very stoic and not show it, but he still has feelings, especially if he was a good man, especially if he denied people and his feelings and the stuff that he wanted to do for you, and just for you to turn around and be like, I'm unhappy. And then when we go out into the world and we realize fat meat ain't greasy and the grass ain't greener and the dating pool is, then we get mad. Then it's men's problem, then it's men's fault. And other men are sitting there looking at you like, we could have told you that, because what they know that we do not is that every man is not going to love you the way your husband loves you. Yes, I know you think you're great. Yes, I know that you are beautiful and your booty is plump and all this other stuff. But men know that they only really love a few women in their lives. They will sleep with a lot of women. They will give attention to a lot of women. But the love down, it's only about 2 or 3. So when a man decides, hey, I want you, I love you enough to marry you, I love you enough to protect you, provide, whatever. Again, the good ones, because somebody gonna be in the comments, the good ones. Other men are bewildered and bamboozled that you couldn't sacrifice just a little uncomfortability, a little unhappiness, a little just to get through that season, because what they know that we don't is our emotions don't last forever. Men are not emotional like we are. They know how to thug it out through their emotions to get to the other side. Now, I'm not saying that any of this is easy. I'm not saying that every marriage is going to be perfect and you ain't going to have your issues and you ain't going to have your ups and downs. But if you get married in your 20s and your 30s and you plan to be with this person for the rest of your life and you don't think you ain't going to have a few years of hard or misery or whatever, you don't think that you ain't going to have to go through something, Again, I'm not talking about cheating because somebody's going to be like, cheating. I'm not talking about that. But we as women have to understand that sometimes our happiness is our job. Sometimes it's not our marriage, it's going to get a hobby. Sometimes it ain't got nothing to do with your family of why you ain't unhappy. Sometimes it's your hormones. Sometimes you just need to get a life, girl. Sometimes you need new friends. Sometimes you might just need a vacation. So I am not the guru to marriage, but I had to break that down because sis didn't understand what I was talking about. Men say it to each other all the time and it clicks. So hopefully with that explanation, I know somebody is going to miss somebody. It's okay. Hopefully with that explanation, you understand what they mean. Why men sacrifice their happiness for their marriage and women sacrifice their marriages for their happiness. Don't let it be you, sis.
Dating used to be mutual effort. Now it's a performance review men never pass. Endless standards, constant tests, zero appreciation. Men stopped auditioning for roles that came with probation and penalties. Punchline? No benefits, no buy-in.
For some men, going passport bro is their planned retirement. I'm a realist. My wife will DIE here. My retirement income with annual colas will go much further in Thailand, Philippines, Panama, Italy, or Spain. The ladies are just icing on the cake. Enjoy your life. Now, in a previous comment, he was saying, he was talking about that his retirement income of $83K would go much further, abroad. And the only thing that keeps him from expatriating himself is is the fact that he's not single or married, whatever. So my question is this: does his wife know that her husband is waiting on her to DIE so that he can go and live in another country where coincidentally it is a much lower age of consent? The average, it's between 14 and 16 for the countries that he's mentioned. I mean, I'm sure he's going for the lower cost of living, right? And better medical care, weather, maybe. I'm sure the ladies are really just the icing on the cake. And does his wife know who she's actually married to?
Marriage used to promise partnership. Now it promises liability. Risk-heavy contracts with unclear returns don't attract rational people. Men aren't anti-love, they're anti-blindfolds. Punchline? Love without protection isn't brave, it's reckless.
Please explain to me what you mean by marriage is hard.
For a moment, imagine living with a woman for 28 years and never being told I'm sorry. Imagine living with someone that gets infuriated when you do things like this or that. For a second, imagine living with a wife who, no matter what you did or what you do, you were criticized to the point where you chose to be at work, because at work, at least you were recognized and respected. This is a reality for a lot of men. This gentleman would go to a friend's house for a visit before going home. Imagine living with somebody and constantly being told for years that you're wrong, I'm right. Imagine finally getting the courage to finally speak up to your wife. And when you finally do, these are the faces you get. I never said that. So while I get this trend is funny in highlighting how messy men are, I think a lot of you women need to look into the mirror and look at how you're treating your husbands. Because if I can be honest, many of you are horrible at it. And you've created a home that many of them don't want to be a part of. And that is what makes a marriage hard.
The real shock isn't men leaving, it's men being happier after they do. More peace, more money, more focus, fewer arguments about nothing. Turns out solitude beats chaos. Punchline? Peace is addictive.
And with no hose. Where are you? What are you?
Gym, working, taking care of responsibilities and priorities, possibly building businesses, trying to leave behind a legacy, building the life that they want so they can establish the future necessary. And some of them are even so lost that they're kind of just trying to figure out what to do with their life. But a vast majority of the good men out there who don't have any hoes, they're just doing life. And they're trying to do everything possible that they can in order to have a better quality of life so that way they can have the future that they desire. And I would bet that every day that you go out, you probably pass one of those dudes. But they in their lane, with their head down, minding their business, grinding and doing their thing because they don't want to waste time or play games. And I would say a vast majority are probably waiting to find the right quality of woman to invest into because, like I said, they're tired of games.
Women ask, where did all the good men go? They went where they're valued or nowhere at all. And oddly enough, nowhere feels better than being tolerated. Punchline? Indifference hurts more than rejection.
No, males are not choosing, but
Oh, yes, they are.
I do find it hilarious how they are all like, yeah, we're done with women. That's why we're all single, because we chose to be done with women.
You know, if someone tells you something often enough, maybe you should start believing them because, yeah, a lot of men are just completely done with dating.
You guys didn't choose that. You know you didn't choose that.
Oh, but they did. What exactly is so hard to believe about that?
You know that right now women are becoming really picky and not choosing men that all they do is bring a paycheck.
Like I said before, there's a lot of women that are very upset that a lot of guys are actually choosing to be single because they want all of the power for themselves and to be able to dictate who they date. It is incomprehensible to some that guys actually can choose who to date.
Although there are still women out there who will accept that. And I suggest you go find them and leave us alone.
Oh, I don't think that'll be a problem at all because it's almost like personality types similar to some that we've just seen are almost the very reasons why a lot of guys are choosing to remain single.
The funniest part? Men didn't announce their retirement. They just stopped showing up. No dramatic exit, no manifesto. Just fewer dates, fewer proposals, fewer explanations. Punchline? Silence is the loudest answer.
What age do you think that men make that much money?
Oh, between 30 and 40.
55, men's income peaks. You think a guy works to 55 to get a housewife, and in return, he wants her to go shopping in his Range Rover and gets nothing in return? Because I didn't hear anything you'd do for him.
Well, he would. He would get me as his wife.
Okay, so you're telling me a guy worked his whole life, busted, like these men have hard jobs. They bust their ass to get there, okay? Most men aren't going to make that, right?
Yeah.
And in return, he gets sex that he could get from any bitch.
Men realized effort without leverage is a losing position. Why invest time, money, and emotional labor into systems that penalize them for participation? Men didn't quit love. They quit bad deals. Punchline? Rational actors don't play rigged games.
You guys want to be modern women, but you want the benefits of yesteryear. You want the benefits of historical traditional gender roles. You want men to be protectors and providers and leaders and pay for dates. Y'all not ladies though, y'all are modern women. If you're a modern woman, go date the soy boy. Date the guy who wants to go 50-50. That's who you deserve. Men need to provide to protect. Men need to be pure and strong and courageous and all these things. What do women need to do?
Blow.
There you go. There you go.
Why do you think my throat sounds like this?
Men didn't rage quit. They logged off. No speeches. No debates. Just quiet exits and full calendars. Final punchline? When men retire from the game is the one that panics.
Men stopped playing by the rules. And now everyone's freaking out. Let's break down why silence has become the loudest move.